Before we talk about that, here is what this Iranian anchor had to say. And there's numerous clips from Iranian state television. Lindsey Graham, the anti-Iranian senator, has gone to hell. He says, this news is so good that I wanted to read it to you once more. Lindsey Graham, the anti-Iranian senator, has gone to hell. On the HasanAbi broadcast, we like to take a look at the true worth of a man. We like to take a look at what these members of Congress have actually done. Not the way that they cover it in mainstream media, but instead the way what their impact is and the way it should be covered. I'll start off by saying Lindsey Graham, in a long list of demonic entities, was exceptionally bloodthirsty. A bloodthirsty, odious monster who loved war. There was never a war that Lindsey Graham did not fall in love with. Mr. Ladybug himself. And the ultimate irony of the situation is that he achieved him and his best friend John McCain's dream of Iran. He finally got to do it. And yet, the only thing he saw in the aftermath of achieving his dream, suffering from his success, was the spectacular failure it turned into in his final days. He watched the United States' century of force projection capabilities collapse. But rest easy, Ladybug, till the bitter end. You died doing what you loved, advancing the interests of American empire. And of course, we're going to get into all of that and more. I just wanted to start with that, get it out of the way. We have a big day today, of course. Lots to talk about. A lot happening in the world, a lot happening in the universe. Sorry for going off topic from this great eulogy, but your suit today looks amazing. Okay. Yeah, thank you for that. This is part of the broadcast where I tell you about my personal news about what's going on in the world of HasanAbi Pikerim between the time period where I press the stop streaming button and press the start streaming button. But as a chud-ass loser, I don't really have much going on in my life. You already know. I played a little bit of basketball. It's mostly cloudy here in 77 degrees in stolen California land, stolen Tonga territory. And we are live. We're alive. I'm going to blast off and we're going to get into it. Lindsey Graham, 71. War with Iran is back. Situation monitor. O'Connor interview. Clavicular in Israel. Sunday fun day is upon us. Get in now. I haven't seen Benjamin Netanyahu on American television as much since another prominent right-wing figure died in the United States of America, and his name was Charlie Kirk. That's right. Benjamin Netanyahu is making the rounds on television talking about how wonderful Lindsey Graham was. Now, of course, that's probably not great for Lindsey's legacy, especially considering that everybody despises Benjamin Netanyahu, but I guess it's honest. But one must ask the question. Sure, it's honest. But what did he do to Lindsey Graham? In any case, ladies and gentlemen, you were expecting me to give you a polite eulogy of Lindsey Graham to lie to you about his background. Well, expect no more. The only redeemable aspect of Lindsey Graham's existence was the fact that he was probably, and then he turned that into an issue with how homophobic he and his party were. A fierce defender of the side in Gaza. Lindsey Graham never met a baby in the third world he did not want to evaporate with American munitions. Do we have a blast off meme, ladies and gentlemen? Do we have a blast off meme? If not, I'm just going to go with Lindsey Graham just died, with the Trump take and get into it. Do we get a crab rave? You already missed it, my friend. We already started with the crab rave. You already missed it. Yeah, I woke up to 700 text messages. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but I woke up to virtually every single person in my life being like, dude, wake up, turn the stream back on. Lindsey Graham passed away. I've cooked such a great blast off. God damn it. These are such fire blast offs. I missed it. I just went, and this is good too. Flags at Grindr headquarters have been lowered to half mast. Shit. I didn't use that. With the immeasurable thanks to God, we're proud to announce the addition of baby number 5 to the Shapiro family this morning. The baby. Oh my God. Oh my God. Lindsey Graham being born into Ben Shapiro's life. Ben Shapiro's family. Yes, if you want to rewind, all you need to do is subscribe. If you want to rewind to see the crab rave that I started off with, all you need to do is rewind, ladies and gentlemen. And in order to be able to rewind, all you need to do is subscribe. HasanAbi had pranking Lindsey Graham's office. Prank call Graham's office, thought I was Lindsey.
Hi, is this Peter?
This is not Peter.
Are you sure? Tell Peter to come pick me up. I had too much to drink with Michael.
Sir, this is Senator Graham's office.
I know it's Senator Graham's office. It's me, you fool. Where's Peter?
I don't think we have a Peter in our office, sir.
I've been seeing Peter. He works for Raytheon. Me and him go and get drinks. It's me, Lindsey. It's late. It was late at night, and I'm still here. I need to pick up ASAP.
Yes. Yes, sir. Lorenzo.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Who's Peter? Yes, sir. I can get that for you.
That is incredible. That's funnier than, oh my God, it worked. How's Mitch holding up? Now, this is a question that a lot of people are going to ask me because I know I am his emergency contact. Mitch is not doing all right. He has not been responding to my numerous phone calls. Usually at this hour of the day, we'd be having a phone sex style situation going on, and Mitch has not been responding to my phone calls to do the phone sex. And I assume that part of that is because he's probably really taken aback by the news. Okay. He's been ghosting me, and I feel some type of way about it. I think it's really messed up. I know what Mitch meant to him. Or sorry, I mean, God, I'm mixing my guys. I mean, sorry, Mitch McConnell is alive. I know what Lindsey meant to him. So he's ghosting me, which is really messed up. It's really, really messed up, folks. But yeah. Are you planning on covering the Will Lawrence situation? Yeah, sure. I mean, I think it's so nasty. I hate that stuff so much. Will Lawrence got hit with the crime of making a statement that is like objectively true, and then having it get clipped in a nefarious way to foment some kind of like racialized animus. I think, from what I understand, he was literally talking to someone who was like a black organizer, like a young black organizer, about like entrenched black political power within the Democratic Party. Offering a setback to further progress, including an abject refusal of younger black voices from entering the fray, and they cut it to make it seem like that he's being anti-black or something. It's a classic situation. I hate that. Anyway, let's finish this.
Yeah, I need to get picked up ASAP. Okay, I'm at the Quiznos and.
Damn, that's insane. That's an insane fit. Yeah, I got to get on my
circle. Do you know where that is?
That was not. Sir, I don't know Peter in our office.
He's not in. We're having a liaison, man. It's undercover. He was gonna pick me up at the Quiznos.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, they thought I was Lindsey Graham. Oh, he believed it. I know, Chicago Bish. He believed it.
That was awesome. Lindsey Graham, after fighting for the top bunk in hell with Charlie Kirk. Dude, listen. Disavow. So Lindsey's NDA expires, so people are coming out about him. Just woke up to find out Lindsey Graham is law. Most of you know him as the homophobic senator for South Carolina, but to me, he will always be the man who paid a Twinkie pre-transition college student a fast stack of cash to do unspeakable things to him in a hotel room while he wore red lingerie. It is a canon trans event to have far-right freaks bankrolling you, then turning around and voting against you. People love to judge us, but I never see them opening their wallets. Shout out to sex workers everywhere forced to humanize their enemies just to make rent. It's an absolute to me that one of the reasons I have any semblance of financial security and a lack of student loans is because of this man. At the time, I had no idea who he was, and I only figured it out because another group of twinks leaked Lady G to the media. Some queers tried to grandstand critique this, saying we shouldn't out people. I believe bigots with power deserve no peace or privacy, especially when they hold public office. I'm glad they did it. Icons forever. Anyway, if you ever enjoy what I do on the internet, I know that is in part. Know that it is in part because of Lindsey's generous donations over a decade ago. Oh my God. Because of Lindsey's generous donations, I've ever sent you dollars or something. Know that was kickstarted by the now deceased sissy senator from South Carolina. Oh my God, Lindsey, rest in hell for what you did to our community. I will continue to love queer and trans people harder than you ever hated us. I'm together and now everyone knows. Kissy face. Dude, this is going to be an insane week. This is going to be an insane week because Lindsey Graham is a demon. Like, Lindsey Graham was a demon. He was a very bad guy. I will, it's going to be tough to fully explain to you how much of a bad guy he was. I'm going to try to do my very best. Okay? I'm going to try to do my very best. But god damn, dude. I mean, he was such a fucking demon. Because, like, look, the American Congress is comprised of the worst people on the planet. Like, if you were to look at individuals with so much power, so much destructive capability, the American Congress is up there as far as like historical forces of ultimate evil goes. Lindsey Graham is above the fold. He is above the average level of evil you automatically subscribe to if you're a part of the American Senate. Like, he is one of the worst of the worst. A gay man who was in the closet, who was, obviously unbelievably homophobic, unbelievably transphobic. That's on the domestic side. Someone who obviously was in favor of ruining the lives of tens of millions of women, with his pro-life sentiment. All that stuff is real. As a Republican, like as a regular Republican, he obviously contributed to a tremendous amount of damage here in the United States of America, right? But what makes Lindsey Graham exceptional, what makes Lindsey Graham uniquely demonic, uniquely evil, is his bloodlust, okay? Lindsey Graham was always at the tip of the spear when it comes to American war machine endeavors. Wherever there was a brown country that was waiting to be bombed, Lindsey Graham was there going, hell yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. I mean, that'd be a great idea. That'd be a great idea. I love Israel. Israel is my favorite. Am Israel high. I say it every day. Look, and on top of that, he was such an inconsistent charlatan. In 2016, he said, we are going to vote in Donald Trump into office, and he's going to ruin this nation, and he's going to ruin this party, and we are going to deserve it. And then he puckered his lips and planted them inside of Donald Trump's ass cheeks for the next fucking decade till the bitter end. That's who Lindsey Graham is. And let me tell you something. Maybe some of you are not very political. That'd be really funny. You're watching me on a fucking Sunday. So obviously that's probably not the case. But you can tell a lot about a man, about the way he treats the legacy of his best friends. Now, Lindsey Graham is a bad guy for his policies. We know that. And we will get to that. There's plenty to talk about there. But Lindsey Graham was also an exceptionally fucked individual because his best friend in Congress, alongside another demon, Joe Lieberman, that's the independent Democratic spoiler, Joe Lieberman. Fuck him too. Okay. But his best friend in Congress was a little known man by the name of John McCain, also known as Bomb Iran John McCain, also known as I like my war heroes not captured John McCain. That's what Donald Trump said about John McCain. Now, John McCain was known as a maverick. John McCain was known as a maverick because he would every now and then stop the Republican Party from advancing some of the worst elements of their agenda. Every now and then. He was also a media demon. He was beloved by the media. He was seen as like this reasonable Republican. No such thing exists, okay? We're not doing that kind of bullshit here. But the media loved celebrating this fucking dipshit, John McCain, also another demon, as this reasonable guy. But John McCain and Lindsey Graham were best friends. They were besties. And Donald Trump, till the bitter end, destroyed John McCain's legacy. He ripped into him. When he was running for office the first time, when he was running for the presidency, he very famously said, "I like my war heroes that weren't captured." Talking about some of the most brutal, torturous conditions that John McCain had withstood on his way to bomb a light bulb factory when his 7th fucking plane fell in Vietnam. And Donald Trump called him a cuck over and over again. Donald Trump disgraced John McCain, one of his most redeemable qualities. An otherwise demonic person himself. Donald Trump is a piece of shit too. Lindsey Graham was John McCain's best friend. And then, as soon as John McCain died, Lindsey Graham puckered his lips and planted them firmly in Donald Trump's ass cheeks. Firmly. And he stayed there. He stayed there until his last breath. One of the most pathetic, disgusting parasites that you have ever seen in American politics. Think about that. This dude fucked up your homie. Okay, your homie that you were like, that's my war hero. That's my war hero. That's my best friend, John McCain. I love him. You were inseparable. You were inseparable. And Donald Trump shit on him every single day. And then you turned around and you said, fuck my homie, you backstabbing bitch. I don't even like John McCain, but at least I'm honest about my distaste for him. You lived with him for years. And then when he died, you immediately fucking switched up on your day ones. That's the kind of guy Lindsey Graham is. Not a good person, not a good politician, nothing redeemable about him. Okay? Lindsey Graham would say on the dead homie and lie straight up. So when you see the media trip over itself to eulogize this guy because he was nice to them at some point, just remember that's the kind of guy he was. Okay? Anyway, here's a little bit of a taste of what kind of guy he was. Here is Lindsey Graham at the Republican Jewish Coalition. Let's take a look.
He recognized Jerusalem as capital of Israel. Why? Because if you got a problem with that, take it up with God. He's the guy that did it, not Trump. So I just want to say, I feel good about the Republican Party. I feel good about where we're going as a nation. We're killing all the right people and we're cutting your taxes. Trump is my favorite president. We've run out of bombs. We didn't run out of bombs in World War II. So as a coalition of Republicans, some Baptists, some Jewish, we organize ourselves around principles that we love and we cherish. We love individual freedom. We love entrepreneurship. We love capitalism. We love Israel. We love the idea of Israel. We love the struggle they've been involved in. We love them, helping them because you're helping yourself. So to those who worry about these stupid interviews and far off places, don't worry. The Republican Party has figured it out when it comes to Israel. We understand that Israel is a friend of America to the bitter end.
Israel comes to me in my dreams. I love Israel. Exhort, thank you for the 100 gifted subs. My friend, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm burning over here.
We understand that God blesses those who bless Israel. And where I come from, I figured that crap out when I was 6 years old. God bless you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So Senator Lindsey Graham was scheduled to appear on Meet the Press this morning. It would have been his 64th appearance on this broadcast. We're sending our deepest condolences to his family and colleagues. President Donald Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will join us this morning to reflect on his life and legacy, which they did, and we'll talk about it. Before we talk about that, here is what this Iranian anchor had to say. And there's numerous clips from Iranian state television. Lindsey Graham, the anti-Iranian senator, has gone to hell. He says, this news is so good that I wanted to read it to you once more. Lindsey Graham, the anti-Iranian senator, has gone to hell. Oh my God, so much Lindsey Graham content. There's something for everything. Here's Lindsey Graham on Cuba.
President Trump finish the job that President Reagan failed to do. I am a big admirer of Ronald Reagan, but I'm here to tell you that Donald Trump, in my opinion, is the gold standard for Republicans, maybe any president, and when it comes to foreign policy. Maduro, everybody talked about him. Well, Donald Trump's got him in jail. Cuba's next. They're going to fall. This communist dictatorship in Cuba, their days are numbered. The Iranian regime, the mothership of international terrorism, is about to collapse. The captain of the ship, the Ayatollah, is stone cold dead.
I have to apologize. I have to apologize for something. I've led you astray. For the longest time, I've led you astray. I've told you foolishly that evil never dies. And today, I recognize that I was wrong. Sometimes evil does die. Because it's not like Lindsey Graham passed away surrounded by loved ones at the age of 71, far after he had been done with his impact. I mean, he passed away at the age of 71 when he was about to become the senator again, the senator from South Carolina once more. So he had more evil in the tank. He had far more evil in the tank, and I don't even know what the events surrounding his untimely demise are, because he seemingly was in operation. He seemingly was still perfectly willing, perfectly able, perfectly capable to do more harm. So he had at least one more term in him for sure. He had that dog in him. What was sustaining his life force was the continuation of American empire. So it's very strange. Now, the question is, did he die in Ukraine, or did he actually make it back to the United States of America? Because I'm a little unsure about what happened here. Because he was in Ukraine the night prior, and I think he died in the United States. But some people are suspecting that it was a 911 call to his DC home, but is that fake? You know, did he actually make it back? They would not be able to hide it, transporting a body internationally. I don't know. Yeah. I think he died in DC in his home. There is a 911 call, but I saw some conspiratorial minded people speculating that he had died in Ukraine and they're like hiding it or something. I don't know. QAnon is suspecting of foul play. And it's not just QAnon that's suspecting of foul play. But this is really funny. The Islamic regime threatened to kill him 6 days ago. I mean, I don't know why you're giving credit to the IRGC here. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if they deserve it, but fuck it, you know? It's kind of funny that these guys are all just like immediately saying like, nope, that's the IRGC did it. Okay, I'm sure they don't hate that. I'm sure they love that. Exclusive photos show Lindsey Graham being carted out of his residence while surrounded by emergency medical service workers administering first aid. Now, this is a very different set of circumstances than the Mitch McConnell one. I'll keep it $150. He was keeping his promise he made here.
How is he doing? Have you heard anything?
I'm going to go check right now with my office.
Okay.
Hoping and praying he's doing well, but I'm going to check just right now.
Is there a contingency plan if for some reason his O'Connell, how is he?
Bro, ain't no way he said, I'm going to go check, and he actually was serious about it. This is one, promises made, promises kept. He'll be back. He was just checking in on Mitch, dude. Yeah. It's not a joke. Yes, this is the last photo of Lindsey Graham to exist. It's Lindsey Graham holding a drone yesterday in Ukraine. I thought this was a joke or trolling. Nope, it's real. This may be one of the very last pictures ever published of Lindsey Graham from his Ukraine visit, published yesterday in the Kyiv Post. Yeah. He went to Ukraine to visit a drone factory, which again is like shocking, but it's just like it's definitely confusing to me because I mean, he seems fine. His father died of a massive heart attack at 69. Nice. 69. Lindsey has had high blood pressure in his 40s. He was fresh off a 14-hour flight, so pulmonary embolism is likely the culprit. We are also carrying the flame right now at level 6 hype train, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, we're carrying the flame at level 10 hype train. You already know. If you like independent media, please subscribe to the Piker Broadcasting Service. The People's Broadcasting Service. Wasn't he supposed to be a Russian stooge? Lindsey Graham? Fuck no. Lindsey Graham was #1 on the Ukraine front. Him, Elizabeth Warren, these guys were like all over it. That's not... Lindsey Graham famously... Remember that quote that I always repeat when I always mention? Like, this is probably the least bad thing that he was doing. Let's be real, as far as like As far as his like foreign policy stuff goes, as I've already maintained, it's like America's on the right side for the wrong reasons. And Lindsey Graham openly admitted that it was the wrong reasons, right? He straight up, he is responsible for the quote that I've used over and over again. The idea that the Ukraine war effort was going fantastic. We've reduced our foreign adversaries' military by 50% without losing a single American active duty service member for the mere cost of 5% of our military budget. I'd say that's a great investment. That's what Lindsey Graham said, something along those lines. I'm paraphrasing here. The gay community lost a real one today. Yeah, first Mitch, now Lindsey. Some of the elders. Did he do poppers? I don't know if he was doing it last night. But guess what, dude? Have no fear. All of your questions will be answered. They got the best people on the job. Senator Lindsey Graham was a devoted public servant, a fierce defender of our nation, a true patriot who dedicated his life to the people of South Carolina and the United States. Our prayers are with his family, loved ones, colleagues, and all those who knew him during this devastating time. The FBI is assisting local authorities and has made every necessary resource available. They got the best people on the job, folks. Do not worry. This was traumatizing to read this morning. Oh, God. Oh, dude, this is the ladybug thing. No. That's too much. That's too much for now. We'll get to that later. Nasty. Don't bring that up. Do not bring the ladybug shit up right now. Come on, dude. Delete. It's too much. And People's Broadcasting Service, Piker Broadcasting Service on a hype train level 7. At level 10, we carry the motherfucking flame. Professor Sayed Mohammed Marandi says, too bad. I wanted him to see the oil market prices on Monday before going to hell. That's crazy. 31 years in office, 0 sexual assault allegations from women. R.I.P. King. That's crazy. Why are you trying to censor the things he loved? No, the ladybug thing is nasty. It's nasty. How close the GOP is to losing their majority in the Senate? Very close. Problem is we got John Fetterman on the other side. So right now it's 50-50, depending on where Mitch is. You know what I mean? If Mitch is gone, then what is this? Breaking. An Iranian regime account is now claiming Iran assassinated Senator Lindsey Graham. They just released one of their state-sponsored IRGC. Again, you know what's funny about this? I don't think you want to say this. If your goal is to, make it more likely that people subscribe to striking Iran, you probably shouldn't give them credit for assassinating Lindsey Graham, who was an objectively repulsive figure. So that's the issue here. Like I don't think people are going to look at this and go, wow, this must have been an Iranian assassination, and therefore I hate them more now. We should definitely bomb them. You're giving them credit for perhaps the highest profile assassination that Iran could have ever pulled off. And because he's an unbelievably repulsive figure, it's just, you're not going to win a lot of favors. Lindsey Graham, TTV, fuck you. Pretty great. Reagan been dicking me down crazy. Lindsey Graham, TTV. I can't die now. Wait, shut the fuck up. Is this serious? Trump told Graham he was preparing to launch fresh strikes against Iran after another attack on commercial ships in the Strait of Hormuz. Oh my God. We cracked the case. Oh my God. He's coming off of a 14-hour flight. And Donald Trump gives him such spectacular news that he has the hardest boner he's ever had. And it causes him to have a heart attack. That's it. No, he nutted too hard. It's clear. He heard the likelihood of dead Iranian children. He heard about Donald Trump bombing Iran extra hard, and he had a heart attack. Clearly, Trump told Graham he was preparing to launch fresh strikes against Iran after another attack on commercial ships in the Strait of Hormuz. A person who spoke with Graham shortly afterwards said the senator complained that he was feeling unwell. When the person urged him to seek medical attention immediately, Graham said he would do so Sunday morning after his scheduled appearance on NBC's Meet the Press. Graham then joked, I can't die now. I still need to do the Russia sanctions, get Iran sorted out, and do Israeli-Saudi normalization. It's kind of crazy that no one is taking into account. First of all, we're at level 8 hype train, by the way. If you give subs, and subscribe. We can carry the flame at level 10. We're at level 8 hype train, folks. Level 8 hype train. Subscribe to independent media. Piker Broadcasting Service, the People's Broadcasting Service, for tomorrow's news today. That's right. 1 minute remaining at level 8 hype train. It is pretty crazy. It's also the worst guy ever gets to eulogize you, and he's just going to fucking farm your death. Okay. The People's Broadcasting Service, Piker Broadcasting Service, is sponsored by you, the people, for you, the people, and nobody else. No ads, just the news for tomorrow's news today. Okay. What the hell is this? Miss Lindsay for level 10 hype train? What? I'm not going to play this, dude. Come on. Not because it's like disrespectful to Lindsey Graham's legacy or something. I obviously clearly don't care about that, but because it's probably cringe. I'm sorry. Yeah, Lindsey had the judge me by my enemies. At least they use a good photo of me. Judge me by my enemies. That's our line. I show speed reaction.
What happened? What happened? What happened? What happened? What happened? What happened? Wallahi, what happened? Wallahi, what happened? What?
Okay. Not a great week for people named Graham. Oh, for sure. For sure. Not great. That is crazy. Let's get started on I guess before, because I have a Rokana interview that I'm going to be conducting in a little bit, but let's get started on Lindsey Graham and the ridiculous glazing that he's receiving currently. We're at level 9 hype train, by the way. Subscribe to the Piker Broadcasting Service for free with a Twitch Prime, or for $6, or you can gift a sub to others. A subscription to the Piker Broadcasting Service allows you to rewind. It allows you to send me links. And also, if we get to level 10 hype train, we will carry the motherfucking flame as always. I'm hearing that on his deathbed, Senator Lindsey Graham unhesitatingly recited the, okay, I hate I'm beginning to hate he said the Shahada on his deathbed and he received the light of Allah memes. It's just so overdone at this point. It's so overdone. Okay, I disavow. All right, let's get to his legacy. Once again, about to be level 10 hype train. 1 minute remaining. Less than 1 minute remaining at 86%. Level 10 hype train. Level 9 hype train.
South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham, one of the most powerful and prominent.
Piker describes feeling sad after both of Hasan's polykill members passed away. R.I.P. Lindsey. Overdone by you. I know. I say it all the time. And level 9 hype train is complete. Level 10 hype train is here. We will, of course, carry the flame. It's always going to be weird hearing someone with the mannerisms of Blanche from Golden Girls calling for mass extermination. Yeah, we need to...
So when we were faced with destruction as a nation after Pearl Harbor...
Yeah, we'll get to his choice quotes about why he's a demonic figure in a second. But before we do that, could also means 40. So they're saying it's the son of 40. Never forget Lindsey Graham's greatest legacy, his final achievement, obviously. Lindsey Graham's quest to sell Trump on striking Iran. This was extensively covered. Lindsey Graham has also said this about what to do in Gaza. This is before he even sold the concept of striking Iran by flying to Israel over and over again. So yeah, we will pour one out for Lindsey. You know, when you have a bunch of Mossad agents who work tirelessly to develop blackmail for the most blackmailable man on the planet, think about all of the work that went in to the Mossad blackmail file, and now it's for nothing. He's dead. He died. Like, think about all the work, all the tireless work that a Mossad agent had to go through to literally create and film, and all of that blackmail is now for nothing. It's all gone. It amounts to nothing. All the videos he had to edit, all of that.
So when we were faced with destruction as a nation after Pearl Harbor, fighting the Germans and the Japanese, we decided to end the war by bombing Hiroshima and Nagasaki with nuclear weapons. That was the right decision. Give Israel the bombs they need to end the war they can't afford to lose, and work with them to minimize casualties. Well, can I say this? Why is it okay for America to drop 2 nuclear bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki to end their existential threat war? Why was it okay for us to do that? I thought it was okay. To Israel, do whatever you have to do to survive as a Jewish state. So when we were faced with destruction as a nation after Pearl Harbor, fighting the Germans and the Japanese, we decided to end the war by...
Yeah, that's what, here's Lindsey Graham on Meet the Press in one of his 67 different Meet the Press interviews. Lindsey Graham is over here advocating to nuke Gaza. That's the kind of guy he was. That's the kind of guy he is. And we will not be letting Lindsey Graham get away in the aftermath of his death. We're not going to let mainstream media whitewash and launder his reputation because he was an accessible guy. Because remember, for a lot of people in the media, they care a lot about access. They care about their own personal experiences, right? So if Lindsey Graham is like kind to them, and there's plenty of people who will tell you like how kind he was, right? There's plenty of people who will turn around and tell you how kind Lindsey Graham was, how great Lindsey Graham was to them personally. I don't care. Okay? I don't care. The reason why I don't give a shit is because he's a fucking politician. Okay? And if you're a politician, I care about your output. If you're a public servant, I care about what you have done to serve the public. And Lindsey Graham is horrible. He's horrible. He was a horrible monster. And not only that, but he was also a hypocritical monster too. Here's a montage of what Lindsey Graham thought of Donald Trump before he became a lackey and humiliated himself. Remember,
I want to talk.
This, by the way, is the same Donald Trump who destroyed Lindsey Graham's best friend. So if you want to know what he was truly like in person as well, like what, if you can't comprehend that the most consequential element of Lindsey Graham's legacy is his actions that he took in office, even as a guy, even as just like a regular person, if you turn around and become besties with the president who destroyed, who constantly shit on your supposed best friend, John McCain, then I don't think you're a good guy at all.
Talk to the Trump supporters for a minute. I don't know who you are, and I don't know why you like this guy. He's a race-baiting, xenophobic, religious bigot. He doesn't represent my party. He doesn't represent the values that the men and women who wear the uniform are fighting for. I think he's a kook. I think he's crazy. I think he's unfit for office. And I'm a Republican, and he's not. He's not a conservative Republican. He's an opportunist. He's not fit to be president of the United States. He's disparaged women. He has an 80% disapproval rating among Hispanics. At the end of the day, he would be the most flawed nominee in the history. He accuses most illegal immigrants of being rapists and drug dealers. He plays into the idea that maybe Obama is a Muslim. 70% of us in South Carolina believe that Donald Trump is not a conservative Republican. We think that he's unfit for office, that he would be a terrible commander-in-chief. He doesn't have the temperament or judgment. I think Donald Trump is a political car wreck, and people slow down and look at the wreck, but they eventually move on. I want to talk to the...
Like, objectively, this kind of sentiment in 2026, can you imagine any Republican saying this shit in 2026? This was 2015. Now, we know that they were fake and phony, and they were doing the same racial agitation that Donald Trump was doing as well. It's just the difference is Donald Trump was saying the quiet part out loud, whereas these guys kept it to dog whistles. Donald Trump was not dog whistling. He was using a bullhorn, right? But like Donald Trump made the Republican Party far more honest in their dishonesty, in their cruelty, in their senseless desire to destroy marginalized populations. Okay? That's it. And that's who Lindsey Graham is. An empty suit, an empty vessel who was single-minded in advancing America's death and destruction campaign overseas. I just woke up and found out Lindsey Graham is dead and in hell, but only for being a homosexual, so I don't know how to feel about it. That's crazy.
It worked. George W. Bush made mistakes, but he did adjust. I blame Obama for ISIL, not Bush. I'm tired of beating on Bush. I miss George W. Bush. I wish you were president right now. We wouldn't be in this mess. I'm tired of dictators walking all over us. I'm tired of siding with the Iranians and the Russians.
Thank you, Governor.
Worked. It worked. George W.
Pam Bondi, cancer announcement. That's what I heard. Hunter Biden says, when I heard about Senator Graham's death last night, the first thing I thought about was not all the things he said and did in service of Donald Trump. I thought of the time before Donald to Senator John McCain, a time when senators from different parties could fight about politics and still be friends, a time when a conservative Republican from South Carolina could say of my father, if you can't admire Joe Biden as a person, you've got a problem. He's the nicest person I've ever met in politics, as a good man as God ever created. That is the Lindsey Graham the Senator Graham I will remember today. Not because I've forgotten what came after, because in that memory there is hope. Hope for a country where brothers can fight like hell over policy and still share a meal. I will, and a laugh and the loss of people they love, I will choose to remember a time before Trump. See, this is, for those of you who don't understand, what this is just an unbelievably out-of-touch person. Hunter GPT strikes once again. Okay? This is just like, wasn't it great when politicians could just like laugh with one another? Who gives a shit? I don't care if politicians are straight up trying to engage in the act of fisticuffs, as long as my political agenda that I believe is truly going to materially improve the working class's lives is being enacted. Okay? That's what politics is. And these guys are playing fucking theater. Who fucking cares? Who cares if he was nice to you, man? I don't give a shit. If someone is an asshole to me personally, and I've made it very clear, look, I have more access to campaigns and candidates and politicians than I ever have in my fucking career. And what do I always tell you? Some of them I like personally. But even if they were pieces of shit to me, as long as they're fucking carrying the agenda of the working class, I don't give a shit. Put the policy in the fucking bag. That is what we should care about. None of this other stuff. This isn't a game. Okay? This isn't theater. This is real life. These people are public servants. They should be measured by their impact. They should be measured by the bills that they advanced, the ideologies that they advocated for. They should be remembered by that. Okay? This is even more consequential than, I don't know, like a famous baseball player passing away or something. Because at the end of the day, even then you reflect on their legacy by looking at their output. But like a baseball player is not bombing Iran. You know what I mean? A baseball player is not going on Meet the Press and being like, we have to literally we have to nuke Gaza. It's bullshit. It's totally ridiculous. Lindsey was thanked by Bibi on Fox and called Patriot for being an Israel supporter so blatant. I know, we're going to talk about it. Hold on, we're going to get there. So just remember, it's like if you're a regular, if you're an average Joe, okay, if you're a regular person, why the fuck would you care about if Lindsey Graham was nice to the people at Meet the Press or not? That doesn't have any impact on your life. You care about the policies. You care about his output. You care about what wars Lindsey Graham agitated to get us into. The last one being the quagmire that we're stuck in that killed a ton of Iranians, including 170 little girls in the Minab school, that has caused chaos all over the world till his last dying breath. As is reported, he was advancing the interests of American empire, which does not advance your interests. It's just death and destruction in the periphery and nothing for you regardless.
Republican lawmakers of the last 2 decades passing away at the age of 71. Washington, D.C. EMS dispatched to Graham's home on Saturday night for a man in apparent cardiac arrest. At 2 a.m. Sunday, Graham's office putting out this statement saying the senator died from a brief and sudden illness, adding Senator Graham's family appreciates prayers at this time and asks for privacy during this incredibly difficult period. Graham had just returned to Washington from a trip to Ukraine, seen here meeting with President Volodymyr Zelensky on Friday.
South Carolina, an open seat. At the moment, it looks like the Republican is ahead.
The senior senator from South Carolina served more than 30 years in Congress, more than 20 of them in the upper chamber, becoming one of its most recognizable members, even mounting a failed bid for president in 2016.
No one here, including me, ever expected to hear me say, I'm Lindsey Graham, and I'm running for president of the United States.
He went from political foe of President Trump's to one of his closest allies in the United States Senate, a persistent advocate for Ukraine in its defense against Russia. President Zelensky calling Graham a true defender of freedom, a staunch advocate for Ukraine, and a determined leader. In recent months, Graham also intensely backing President Trump's war in Iran.
We're comply with the law of war, but all hell's about to break loose on this regime.
Graham also instrumental in confirming Trump's Supreme Court nominees and mounting this fiery defense of Justice Brett Kavanaugh in 2018.
This is the most unethical sham since I've been in politics.
Graham spending more time with Trump than perhaps any other lawmaker, serving as a key advisor. The pair often seen golfing. Overnight, the president calling Graham one of the greatest people and senators I have ever known, and a true American patriot.
South Carolina's governor will now appoint an interim senator to fill Graham's seat until his term ends in January. Graham was running for re-election, so Republicans in South Carolina now have to hold a special primary to fill his spot on the ballot, Gio.
And Jay, this comes as there are continued questions now about the health of Senator Mitch McConnell.
That's exactly right, Gio. McConnell was checked into the hospital exactly 4 weeks ago today. His staff has still not said why. It's an unknown medical condition. His office continues to say that McConnell is getting treatment and that he's working on Senate business. The governor of Kentucky is demanding answers about McConnell's condition. And if McConnell continues to stay out and with Graham gone, that creates a numbers problem for Senate Republicans. They go from 53 voting Senate Republicans to just 51, Gio.
Yeah, lots of questions there. All right, Jay O'Brien, thank you so much.
Senator Lindsey Graham was as comfortable abroad as he was at home, visiting Ukraine just this Friday.
Good, older, but no wiser.
And using his bipartisan relationships and closeness to President Trump to finalize a new Russian sanctions bill he hoped would force Vladimir Putin to end the war.
So when I get back to Washington, I'm going to go with Senator Blumenthal to the Republican and Democratic leader to see if we can find time to move this Russian sanctions package that would give tools.
Dude, I think Nancy Mace is actually fucking insane. Like, there's something wrong with her. Because, like, look, you can't be shitposting like this if you're trying to replace Lindsey Graham's seat in the special election. Like, I think there's something truly fucked up in her brain, dude. Like, this is a crazy thing. This is some shit that, like, an anonymous shit poster on the internet or someone like myself would post. You know what I mean? Like, if your goal is to actually take over the role, how the fuck are you gonna, like, you look like a crazy careerist.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Yeah, she's saying that she's running for Lindsey Graham's open seat now, like moments after he died. And you know, I just don't think that is going to look good for people that are, I guess, maybe heartbroken. I assume there's some people who are fucking heartbroken, right? Like, I don't know. I don't know, man. Anyway, let's continue.
To President Trump to help end this war.
Yet Graham died in Washington on his return after a brief and sudden illness, his office said. He served in Congress for more than...
Like, the Republicans, are they even heartbroken? I don't know. I just, there's, whatever.
30 years representing his native South Carolina. He was meant to appear on NBC's Meet the Press today. Instead, President Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu spoke in his place.
I just can't believe it. He was like a member of the family to me. It's very tough, actually. It's amazing.
Mr. President,
he was such an advocate.
I think America has lost a great patriot. Israel has lost one of the great champions of the American-Israeli alliance.
Graham first entered Congress in 1995 and was one of the House managers during the impeachment trial of Bill Clinton.
I have lost no sleep worrying about the fact that Bill Clinton may have to be removed from office because of his conduct. I have lost tons of sleep thinking he may get away with what he did.
When he joined, he made his name as a foreign policy interventionist, supporting the Iraq War and hawkish on Iran way before Trump's recent military interventions. As the Iranians claim the Strait of Hormuz is closed and fire missiles at US interests, Washington says the strait is in fact open as they launch strikes on Iran. The return to hostilities matches what Graham said recently, that diplomacy won't work, and called on Trump to go harder.
If Iran contests control of the Strait of Hormuz by the United States, we will obliterate them.
Graham was one of the Trump administration's staunchest defenders, backing Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh amidst allegations of sexual assault.
You've got nothing to apologize for. This is the most unethical sham since I've been in politics.
And despite being pro-Ukraine, he called on Zelensky to resign or change after clashing with Trump.
You're gambling with World War III.
What I saw in the Oval Office was disrespectful, and I don't know if we can ever do business with Zelensky again.
Like, he's such a piece of shit. Like, his claim to fame is like the spearheading the bipartisan effort as the Republican for Ukraine and like being tight with Zelensky. And the moment that Donald Trump turned on Zelensky, he turned on him too. Like, he is a literal demon, bro. He is just he was such a bad dude. Notice they aren't mentioning his love for South Carolina, Lamau. Yes, because he was like the foreign policy guy. That's why I have so much smoke for him.
For many critics, this was all an astonishing U-turn, because when Graham ran for the Republican presidential nomination a decade ago, he did not mince his words on Trump.
He's a race-baiting, xenophobic, religious bigot. And you know how you make America great again? Tell Donald Trump to go to hell.
And he claimed after January the 6th that his newfound friendship with Trump was over.
All I can say is count me out. Enough is enough.
Yet the man who...
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. Honestly, the only thing I know him for the whole Supreme Court, use my words against me, embarrassment, yeah.
voted to impeach Clinton did not vote to impeach Trump. In Graham's final days, he worked alongside other members of Congress to convince the White House to increase its support for Ukraine, meeting Zelensky in Ankara during the NATO summit and again days later in Kyiv. The Ukrainian president said Graham was a true defender of freedom and that America and the world had lost a determined leader.
And joining me now is Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, another longtime friend and ally of Senator Lindsey Graham. Prime Minister Netanyahu, welcome back to Meet the Press, and my condolences to you.
Well, thank you. I'm frankly, I'm in a state of shock.
It's just not a good, like, if you're like family members of Lindsey Graham, you got to be like, dude, shut up. Don't say anything. You're literally the modern reincarnation of Adolf Hitler. And you're like, that was my bestie. Also, this is this does remind me of the whole Charlie Kirk incident when Benjamin Netanyahu immediately rushed to American television to be like, Charlie Kirk was a friend of Israel. We did not kill him. He was the best friend I ever have. Obviously, with Lindsey Graham, it's a little bit less believable, considering that, I don't think Israel's the one country Lindsey Graham was never turning on, okay? Rain or shine. Because he even turned on Ukraine, but there was one country that took the highest priority for Lindsey Graham. It wasn't the American country, the American countryside. Certainly wasn't South Carolina. It was the nation state of Israel. Israel.
Because as President Trump said, Lindsey was so vibrant. He was so full of life. He was so full of energy and dedication that it's hard to accept the fact that he is no more. I think America has lost a great patriot. Israel has lost one of the great champions of the American-Israeli alliance. And frankly, I've lost a beloved friend who I've had for many decades. There's just no one like him.
Well, Mr. Prime Minister, Senator Graham was one of the leading voices advocating for Israel, advocating for expanding the Abraham Accords. Every time I talked to him, he wanted to talk about this. Mr. Prime Minister, what does his loss mean?
Dude, again, this is the media being so unbelievably out of step with the public. Like, they're having a conversation about Lindsey Graham's legacy that they feel best honor him, right? Every normal human that hears that from South Carolina all the way to California are going to be like, yeah, no, we know that, which is why we fucking hate him. He was a rapacious brown noser, both literally and figuratively. And not only that, he was spineless. And he placed the interests of Israel above the interests of Americans every single day. This kind of conversation in media circles might be a normal one, but if you're having it in public, it's not going to reflect positively on Lindsey Graham's legacy. I'm glad that they are unintentionally doing the correct thing, which the media rarely ever does. Because the positive way to cover Lindsey Graham is to say, like, he was a diligent worker, he was tireless, he was the best at finding bipartisanship, he was nice to me, all this shit, right? He always stood for American interests, he stood for the interests of South Carolinians. They're not doing any of that. They're just like, he loved Israel. That's the only thing he cared about till his last breath, actually.
Not only for you, but the people of Israel. What do you think the impact is globally?
In Israel, it's grief. In Iran, it's celebration, because Lindsey never confused good and evil. He knew exactly where the Iranian regime is. He thought it was a great danger, not merely to Israel and to America's allies in the Middle East, but to America itself. And he just never wavered. You know, he was so clear. He had clarity, he had courage, he had convictions that he believed were at the basis of America. I always use it like the Superman comics. You remember freedom, justice, and the American way. He represented these traditional values, and Kristen, he never flinched.
Isn't it so odd that a congressperson died and the media is asking about the opinion of a foreign country's leader about him? Why the fuck are we talking about the feelings of Israeli citizens right now? What do you mean? That's the president. We interviewed the fake president and the real president on Meet the Press on Sundays. You know?
He was absolutely uncaring about the winds of fashion. You know, he believed something, he spoke about it directly and with candor. And if he wanted to tell me something unpleasant, he would do so, you know, in his southern drawl. And sometimes I always say that when he said, well, you know, you want to take it from a good old southern boy from me who doesn't know much about the world, and then he'd bring it in, you know. He was so smart and so full of conviction and dedication that it's these qualities, and I think the president spoke about it. He was at once a great politician, but I think beyond that, I think he was just an incredible patriot.
Let's see what people are saying. Hold on. Last time he came out and said something similar, he came out to say he had not killed Charlie Kirk. Tells you all you need to know. He lost someone who would put all of the needs of America's greatest ally ahead of any of the needs of the people of the U.S. The fact that we go straight to Israel for their feedback says a lot. AIPAC is for sure going to try to install a new puppet in his place. Don't worry, NBC. I'm sure AIPAC is busy buying Lindsey's replacement. This is what I mean. This is what I mean when I'm telling you, like, they're so out of step that they think this honors his legacy. And surely, from the perspective of Lindsey Graham, this is honoring his legacy, right? But the average person that hears from the fucking war criminal leader of the apartheid state that they do not like are not going to reflect positively on Lindsey Graham's legacy, and they shouldn't. So the media, being so out of step with the needs of the masses, is unironically doing the correct thing unintentionally by reflecting on Lindsey Graham's legacy with accuracy.
For America.
You talked about the fact that he has as many friends and some enemies. You heard President Trump say he could be a tough cookie. He talked about the fact that Iran had threatened him. Did he have concerns? How did he process the fact that he was quite outspoken and not afraid to engage in tough debates?
Well, he was absolutely fearless. You know, we spoke about it more than once, but he was fearless, as he should be. He's a leader in public life, and you have to take those risks. But I frankly hope to have many more years of friendship with him, and enjoyed his indefatigable and incorrigible honesty. He was very honest about his views. And the amazing thing about Lindsey Graham is he put it directly. You know, he said, you know, I stand with Israel openly. I know that the winds of fashion blow in another way. I couldn't care less. Sometimes he'd incorporate some words that I won't repeat now, but he was just so clear, so courageous, both for his own personal safety, but also for what he believed was absolutely necessary for America. And he believed that
when you say that Lindsey Graham was a rapacious brown noser, both figuratively and literally, are you saying he ate ass forcefully? Yes, dude. It was a double entendre. Yes.
Israel's security and America's security are intertwined. It wasn't just a spin or anything like that. It was something he held deeply for many decades, and I could see his contributions, because he sometimes tried to out-negotiate me. You know, we were. It's just unbelievable. You know, we had with 3 American presidents, with President Clinton, President Obama, and President Trump.
Remember how Lindsey joked about bombing the flotilla to Gaza? Hope Greta and her friends can swim. Monster. Just a straight up fucking monster, dude. Just an awful villain of the highest order. And everyone, in an effort to entertain the optics of it all, are now going to do their very best to be like, oh my God, I can't believe the left is celebrating his demise. He was a young boy at the age of 71, a fresh babe in the womb by Senate standards. Look at Chuck Grassley.
We had memorandums of understandings for support for Israel's military, which, by the way, I think we have time now we've come of age and we're able to draw them down to zero. But he would argue with me. He would say, no, you know, for ballistic missile defense, that's important for you. It's important for America. Whatever is the number, it has to be bigger. And I said, Lindsey, we can do with a smaller number. He said, no, you can't. And then he would go to the Senate and actually, can you imagine this? He would outbid the Prime Minister of Israel. He said, I'm not getting a single vote in South Carolina for that because, you know, there are very few Jews in South Carolina. And the people, yes, they support Israel, my constituency, but I support Israel. And I think you need more. And I'm going to fight for this. This is who Lindsey Graham was. He went with his convictions. And yet he was an amazingly able politician to be able to talk to people on the other side of the aisle, and he did that very often.
He loved engaging in the debate, and it's so fascinating to hear you say that he was not afraid to out-debate you on this core issue for Israel. If he were here today, and it's still just such a shock that he's not, he would want to talk about Iran. He would want to talk about the conflict with Iran.
What is happening, bro?
Throughout the course of this week, he thought,
what is happening? They're like, we're honoring his legacy by manufacturing consent to go wage war with Iran at the behest of a foreign nation state. What the fuck is going on? He would have wanted this? Am I losing my mind? I mean, he is a single issue voter. It's just crazy, right? Lindsey Graham's supposed political shifts, his move from being a fierce Trump critic to one of president's biggest ass kissers makes sense when you realize that Graham's core political commitment was to sociopathic militarism. He would take any tactical stance to further that cause. It's true. In some ways, I guess it is the best way to honor his legacy. This is what he would have wanted. It's true. Use even my death and my legacy to, it doesn't even matter if you remember, use my death and my legacy to advance American militarism further.
that a more robust military operation was needed in this moment after President Trump had declared the ceasefire over. Do you agree with that, or are you on the same page with President Trump about that? How do you see this moving forward?
I think President Trump wants to exhaust the possibility of achieving an agreement, especially on the nuclear issue, through negotiations. But he is obviously not shy of using force when the Iranians break every commitment they make, and usually a few hours or a few minutes after they make it. So I think we should let the president have his opportunity. Israel is keenly grateful for the fact that America and Israel joined forces to prevent Iran from getting nuclear weapons and the means to deliver them, not only against us,
Rokan is going to be on in 2 minutes,
but against the entire West and against the United States. Now, people don't understand how close that was. And the fact that we had these two operations, which...
No, we do understand how close Lindsey was. We do understand it, as a matter of fact. We understand it perfectly. But, thank you for repeating it, I guess. He talks about Roe in this interview as well, yeah.
Called Midnight Hammer and Epic Fury. We call Rising Line and Roaring Line. We actually drove it back. We removed this immediate and present danger of Iran with nuclear weapons that would have posed a danger to everybody. And I think that Lindsey was unabashed. He talked to me about it. He said, you have to do it. You have to do it. He came to me and said, Bibi, you have to do it. You have to knock out these nuclear weapons program before they knock us out. He was very clear about that. By the way, as was President Trump throughout the many years that I've known him. He didn't move, he didn't say, oh, well, maybe it's not fashionable to say it now. Maybe public opinion has turned against it. He couldn't care less. I mean, he was aware of it, but it didn't change his convictions. And he did what he thought was good for America. And he thought that a strong Israel is good for a strong America, and vice versa, of course.
Before I let you go, I do want to give you the opportunity, if you would like to respond to Congressman Ro Khanna. He is going to be on this broadcast. He says he visited the West Bank. He was blocked by settlers wielding guns. He says the IDF did not help defuse this situation. Do you have any comment on that this morning, Mr. Prime Minister?
Yeah, we're a country of laws, and people who break the law, we take them to court. In the West Bank, in Judea and Samaria, we've had thousands of attempted attacks and warnings against terrorist activities, against innocent Israelis, families, mother with their children driving along the road. They're stopped by terrorists and they kill them. And this has happened again and again and again. There is a vigilante effort community. They're 99.9%, law-abiding citizens. They work, they serve in the army, and so on. There are 150 juvenile delinquents that are not part of that community. They come from the other parts of Israel. I don't want vigilantes of any kind, and we are working to put them under the law. But I think if we put things in perspective, we should see that we have thousands of attacks and some few, but obvious breaking of the law. Then we apply the full measure of the law against them. Israel, unlike our neighbors, is a democracy and a country of law, and we act against those who break the law.
Well.